One day you will vanish, and not a single real trace of your existence will remain. It's not an exaggeration, it's destiny. Your voice, your dreams, your photos, your Instagram posts, even the warmth of your body, all of it will fade. And the worst part? It never really mattered. Not yesterday, not today, not tomorrow. While you wake up early for a job you hate, pay overdue bills, swallow anxiety, and pretend to be fine on social media. The universe doesn't care. Have you noticed? The world doesn't stop because you're sad. Your pain doesn't change the Earth's rotation or the opening hours of the stock market. While you collapse inside, there are people posting smiling pictures at the beach. And this is the play we all perform. A theater where we pretend there's a greater purpose, when in truth the script feels like it was written by a drunk comedian or by nothingness itself. As Emil Cioran once said, the simple fact of being born is already a condemnation. We are living proof of a defective biological construction, cursed with consciousness. While a dog sleeps peacefully on the sidewalk, you lie awake at 3 a.m. wondering if any of this is worth it. Perhaps the real punishment isn't death, but to live, lucid, knowing exactly where it all leads. Emil Cioran didn't write to console. He tore off the mask of hope without mercy, not to destroy, but to reveal what lies behind it. Life was never beautiful. And if you came here looking for motivational quotes or comforting answers, you're in the wrong place. But if you want the truth, even if it burns like a needle against the bone, then stay. Life is only one, and we will be forgotten like crushed insects. No human achievement escapes the dust. Empires, cathedrals, rockets, laws, theories, all will turn to cosmic powder. This isn't pessimism. It's physics, it's biology, it's history. You can write books, start companies, have children, plant forests. You can even change the world. But the world will also die, taking with it you, your work, and your memory. We are not here because we were chosen, but because of a genetic accident, a fluke of chance. Being born was a mistake. Being alive is the consequence of an ancient catastrophe that has been repeating for billions of years. And everyone ends up rotting. While the backdrop is emptiness, the Egyptians built pyramids for eternity and vanished. The Romans ruled the planet and vanished. And us? We post stories, count likes, trying to prove we're somebody. Just another failed attempt by the universe to justify itself. Cioran said that if we still exist, it's because of inertia, cowardice, or sheer stupidity. This machine called life, to be born, suffer, work, die, has no center, no direction. It only spins, grinding billions of people generation after generation. We think it will end one day, but it doesn't. And if you still doubt it, look at the photos from the Vietnam War. Look at the trenches of the First World War. Look at the concentration camps. All of it carried out by men who believed they were building a better future. Look around. Most of the things we call important will one day be nothing more than footnotes in history. And, to be honest, no one will care. The so-called belief in progress sounds more like a dark joke. If humanity vanished today, the universe would remain indifferent. The silence would go on, perhaps even purer. Cioran once said, "Life is not something to be celebrated, but endured." He saw existence as useless noise lost in a cosmos that couldn't care less, a pointless gear turning until it breaks. And those cliches like, live every day as if it were your last, they serve better to sell coaching courses than to change anything. The truth is bitter. Every day lived is another step toward decay. Being lucid means carrying an enormous weight. Knowing that everything ends does not bring freedom. It brings prison because there is no escape. It doesn't matter whether you bet on faith or science, money or love. The ending is always the same. Death is the only certainty we have, and that leads us to a cruel realization. Living is taking part in a blind mechanism that leads nowhere. Consciousness is not a gift of evolution. It is our greatest sentence. More than death itself, what destroys us is knowing it's coming, and that everything and everyone we love will disappear. The dog sleeps, the tree grows. The human being thinks, and for that reason, rots from within. Cioran saw this not as a metaphor, but as a diagnosis. To be human is to be tormented by thoughts that solve nothing, yet dismantle everything. It's the kind of thinking that can turn even a mirror into a threat. Consciousness didn't give us control. It gave us agony. Have you ever tried sitting in absolute silence? At first it feels like peace, but stay long enough and silence turns to despair because it leaves room for consciousness to speak without filters. And it always brings back the truth we try to avoid. Life is a labyrinth with no center, no exit, no map. Knowing there is no meaning doesn't stop us from living, but it kills our enthusiasm. Cioran saw philosophy not as a cure, but as a necessary poison, a fever that the higher it rises, the closer it gets to collapse. And the paradox is cruel. The more lucid you are, the more you suffer. Science itself confirms it. More active and interconnected brains tend to experience more psychic pain. Nietzsche went insane, writers took their own lives, artists lived between breakdowns and hospitalizations. Those who see too much, feel too much, think too much, end up carrying a weight few can bear. Ignorance is light, lucidity unbearable. And then you realize we are lumps of flesh contemplating our own decay. Suffering is not an accident. It's the price of having too much intelligence in a world that makes no sense. That's why we invented religions, ideologies, and even self-help books, symbolic walls to avoid looking directly at the corpse of life. But even knowing this, the mind doesn't switch off. Once consciousness awakens, it never sleeps again. It whispers in the background, all of this is useless. Everything we believe in was created so we wouldn't go mad. God, justice, eternal love, purpose. None of these were born from truth but from fear. Hope is not a virtue. It's a survival instinct in disguise. It's an illusion that sustains civilization, politics, religion, patriotism, all based on the trick of pretending there's a hidden meaning behind pain. God, for instance, was not discovered. He was invented to turn panic into worship and emptiness into narrative. And ideologies? They are religions without heaven, but with promises. Some speak of paradise on earth, others of freedom and prosperity. All of them, in the end, stained with blood and inequality, not from execution errors, but because any ideology is merely a useful lie to impose order on chaos. The hope for a better world is a crutch for those who don't want to face the truth. The world will not improve, the species will not evolve, and suffering has no hidden lesson. As Cioran said, only desperate ideas have value. Pain is built into the structure, collapse is in the source code, and self-help? It sells happiness as a product, but what it delivers is anesthesia, a painkiller so we don't feel the doubt that keeps coming back. What if life, deep down, isn't worth that much at all? Hope is like an anesthetic. Not because one day everything will be all right, but because facing the opposite means admitting that the human condition was born already defeated. Perhaps the only moment we see reality as it truly is when we feel despair without a shred of hope to hold us. We were taught to run from the truth, and the greatest truth of all is this: life has no final destination. The promises we tell each other are crutches for those who can't bear to walk along the edge of the abyss. When we look at history, we realize that what we call progress is nothing more than the evolution of pain. We've only made suffering more technical, faster, more systematic, from the chipped stone to the atomic bomb. We have not changed as a species. We have only refined the tools to destroy ourselves. History is not an album of glory. It is a sequence of slaughters painted as heroic deeds. It turns massacres into historic milestones, well-organized killers into liberators, genocides into founding acts. Think about it. Every great power was built on piles of corpses. The United States, colonization, slavery, Hiroshima. France, revolutions, guillotines, colonialism. Germany, Nazism, gas chambers, technological pride. Russia, Tsarist Empire, Stalin, forced labor camps. Brazil, destroyed quilombos, indigenous peoples erased from the map, children starving while palaces shine in Brasilia. And what have we learned from all this? Nothing. We still believe in the myth of moral evolution, as if the passing of time had anything to do with ethics. After 16 million dead in the First World War came 70 million in the Second. Today we have nuclear warheads capable of erasing cities in minutes, and we still call it strategic deterrence. The same tribal instinct, now with a red button. Man invented history to forgive himself, but there is no forgiveness when we repeat the same violence with such precision. Civilization. Perhaps it's just a thin layer of varnish over the same old barbarism. If you think we live better now, look again. Millions of refugees with no home, slave labor disguised as a global economy, Children assembling cell phones so adults can post selfies. Cioran would call this the victory of stupidity as a universal order. History doesn't move forward. It spins in circles, repeating the same mistakes in new clothes. And the pain you feel today will not be remembered, not even by you. That's the irony. Even the deepest scars vanish along with the flesh. In the end, nothing remains. We fight to leave a mark on the world, but the world has nowhere to sign. As Cioran said, we will be forgotten like idiots and insects. The only difference between an emperor and an insect is the size of the funeral. The fate is the same. Dissolution, oblivion, silence. If you've ever walked through an old cemetery, you know what I mean. Broken headstones, names erased, stories no one remembers. They were lovers, children, mothers, soldiers, poets, and today they are nothing more than eroded stone. One day we will be the same. Even despair feels small in the face of silent eternity. Even those who left their mark on history could not escape the corrosion of time. Homer? No one is sure he ever existed. Jesus? Fragmented into 1,000 interpretations. Alexander the Great? Now reduced to a footnote, almost a meme of masculinity. What is not distorted is simply forgotten. If even those who changed the course of the world end up erased, what can be said of us? And the most unsettling part is that the abyss is not only in the past, it also lies ahead of us. The heat death of the universe is not mysticism, it is physics. One day everything will reach absolute equilibrium. No stars, no chemical reactions, no memories, no organized matter. Nothing. And when that day comes, humanity will have vanished without leaving any record, witness, or archive. Eternity is the forgetting of everything worth remembering. We are a microscopic breath in an ocean of silence. The importance we believe we have is nothing more than a biological instinct to endure this brutal truth. No value resists time, no memory survives entropy, no meaning escapes the cosmic void. Hope is a joke told by an organism that knows it will die. And consciousness, this aberration of evolution, is the echo of a universe that laughed at itself, too late to turn back. In the end, perhaps nothing matters. Perhaps you, me, this video, are just another spark fading into darkness. But as long as there is a lit screen and attentive eyes like yours, there is still a thread of meaning. If this video touched something inside you, if it broke a silence or gave a name to a feeling you could never express, then it has already been worth it. Here, we don't serve canned optimism. We prefer the truth, even when it's thorny. And having you here rowing against the current is already an act of resistance. If you want to go further, if you believe this content deserves to exist, consider supporting the channel. It helps us keep producing deep analysis in an increasingly superficial world. You can subscribe, share, comment, or simply keep showing up, because your presence alone is more valuable than you might think.